I think I got everything straight here. I think you guys can hear me. So we're gonna get on with this. This is a 16 by 20 inch canvas panel. All right, I did coat it in black. What we have down below is ultramarine, blue, sap green. All right. This is Prussian blue, Cad orange, and titanium white. Is what we got so far. All right. Even though I do have a black canvas, it may not look like a black canvas when I'm finished with it. Okay. And yes, that is a dinosaur in the front of a barn. Now, as you can see by the reflective clear tape that I have, it is a masking procedure, same thing, but I used box tape instead of the masking tape. The reason why I use the clear box tape. Hey, Madonna, how are you? Hello, Jessica, I see you there. The reason why I'm using clear tape is because because on a black surface, you're gonna need some kind of white chalk so you can see what you put down. And basically what I've done, I'll show it to you here with the dino, is I did make a tracing of the dinosaur. Okay, but I used white chalk in the back. All right, then I placed the dino right there, taped it up, I traced it out in pen, as you can see. Okay, and then I just lifted it and I taped it using box tape to do the creature. I did the same exact thing with a barn. I took a barn, just any barn online. Okay, and same method. There's the white chalk. All right. I did trace it out in pencil. I put it there, just like pretty much like this, really. All right, taped it up there, traced it out on the board. Left the white marks, which you cannot see because of the glare of the sun, but you can see bits of and pieces of it there. All right, so it's the same procedure. All right, okay. I do have the photo of the actual barn. No, I don't have it on me. This is the other barn from a couple of days ago, but I do have a actual photo of the barn. But if I really need to look at the barn, I can always pull it up on my tablet, but I won't need to. Okay, the barn does have a ramp and whatnot, so we'll see how long this painting will take. If I have to do a second part, then I'll do a second part. Don't want to keep you guys here really too long. All right. Hey, RV, what's going on? All right. So this is what we got on tap for this morning. I had to make sure I got all my little things done before I can come on this early. All right. Okay. There's a lot of little things going on with this this painting. I almost like to come back to this barn a few times over. When I make copies of barns, I'll put it in one of the programs. I can enlarge it or make it smaller. It all depends on the size of the painting. It all depends on really what I want to do. Okay, since the barn and the dino are going to be the main subjects, all right, so I'll take care of them, put them up on here first. Okay, mask them off and whatnot, and we'll get to these guys. We'll get to these guys a little bit later. All right, so I'll get the general foreground done, do everything in the background that needs to be done, and go on from there. So I'll work from the back, coming up toward the front. All right. Okie dokie then. And so now that I've got them masked, they're all pretty much secure. This type of tape, the box tape, extremely sticky. When it comes to cutting something like that, I would use an extremely sharp X-Acto knife. You can kind of dig into a board a little bit more than you can a canvas. All right. This type of tape, though stronger and nothing's going to really leak through it, it is very sticky. And because of your cutting, you don't see it, but you're going to make extra little nicks and cuts, which is why it won't come off in one piece. It's going to split and just come off in little sections depending on how you peel it. It's nature of the business. It's going to happen. You'll get used to it and everything. Okay, so this is actually the best way really to do a masking job, is to put everything on there first, what you want to put on there. I very rarely mask two objects, but I wanted to do one just to show you that you can do it. Because of the creature's horns, I actually put the creatures in front deliberately of the barn, once again to give depth and dimension. The barn is further away. Okay, so that will add to the depth and dimension of the barn. The creature will probably be among some of the last things to be painted. This barn will probably be painted in way before the creature will be, because he's part of the mid-ground. Now the creature is probably part of the foreground, or maybe the second mid-ground. I'll put something probably in front. Who knows what I'll do up in here. All right. Basically, obviously, a barn means wooded area somewhere. So obviously it'll be some sky, trees, you know, things like that. That's going on. Hello, Aurora. How are you? So, once again, as I usually say, I'll try to make this as painless as possible. Okay, I'm gonna probably be doing a lot more things on the Home Artist Academy site, which is a paid site. I pretty much do the same thing, but it'd be a whole lot slower because it is instruction and everything. I'll probably go back to doing maybe a few Zoom classes on there. I'll most likely be aiming toward there for a bit for this year. All right, I'll still do stuff on YouTube every once in a while, or I'll do like little lesson things. It depends on which way I want to go. All right, but it'll be more specialized things on the paid site. All right, so let's get on to it. As you can see, well, you can't see it now. I hit it, but I do have my brush in some water just to loosen up the bristles. I got the large beach towel on my lap. I'm gonna get ready to do all of these joyous little things here. Hello, Maria Spears. There you are. I see you. I see you there. I got the tablet over here on my right, but I got the phone here on my left. I see Maria there. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. And all that there good stuff. Once again, I'll go through the colors. You got the ultramarine blue, sap green, Prussian blue, very deep dark blue, cad orange, and titanium white there. Okay, I flipped the camera orientation so that you guys pretty much can see the paints right here, right by the camera. I used to have it the other way around where the camera was on the other side of the table. Okay, it's a lot easier for me to show you the mixing process and everything while it's like right here in front of your face. Okay, and I can see by the phone and by the tablet, you guys can clearly see it. It's an early time of the day. The sunlight is like coming right straight through the window on the opposite side of this board. This room is got 16 windows in it, so it's like just a glass box. Okay, and the sun comes up on that side of the window. All right, so we got ample enough light going on, and it's rather ironic that there's a window that's open right in back of me, and you guys can obviously see the silhouette of the window. Actually, that's what you're looking at, that spot, because the window's like right there, right in back of me. All right. Obviously with a pitch black background, I'm gonna add the the glycerin on it. Get a nice little flowing sky. We're gonna have a little fun with the sky here. Okay. All right. So let's get right to it. Now, I know a lot of you may not get a hold of glycerin, may not have glycerin, but you can get away with shampoo. Shampoo does have glycerin in it. But it's the same thing, same principle. Shampoo, water soluble, and it does mix with your paint. Now, for those of you who use craft paint, you're better off with just water because your craft paint is so thin. All right, this stuff that I'm using, the procedure that I go through, the techniques, is for a thicker body paint like this, because I can take this glass palette and tip it upside down and none of the paint will fall off. It's really thick paint. It's not going anywhere. This thick acrylic paint is in the mind of oil paint. Oil paint does the same thing. There's no such thing as really runny oil paint. Oil paint is like just right, you know, thick, heavy body. It sits where it lays, all right? So, same thing with this stuff, okay? All right, we'll dip into the glycerin, which the glycerin has the consistency of syrup. All right. You can put a little bit of water in your glycerin if it's a little too thick and too syrupy for you. All right, for your taste, you can do that. All right. Now, I only need a thin amount of glycerin, and so would you. You don't need to have this very, very heavy because the paint really sits on top of this stuff. All right, which is what aids it into being blended very well and very easily. You hear me say from time to time, a very little bit of this stuff goes a long way, and that's very true. Now, this box tape, being that it's very sticky, all right, this glycerin is not going to seep its way in between anything. It's extremely sticky. Scotch tape is the same way. This glycerin will not go through the scotch tape. Okay, but the scotch tape is nowhere, it's stickier than the other tape, but not as thick. Okay. All right, this is all the glycerin I pretty much need. All right, just that. You obviously see the reflection there. Okay. Okay, you guys can see that. All right. So it's basically what I would need. I want kind of a brighter type of blue, so we'll mess with that a little bit. Let's take a little bit of white. Well, I'll just use the same brush. I'll take some titanium white. Now remember, keep in mind that the paint will stay kind of lucid for a minute. Okay, you can paint red over everything. It kind of doesn't matter. And what I'm doing right now is just going to add some brightness down here, because when I put the blue on top of it, I'll keep it kind of like that. I'll fade it up here a little bit. You don't have to make everything even, okay, but just something like that. It's just going to brighten up the bluish green when I put it on there. So it'll be a little thicker up here, but it'll lighten up down in that area. All right. You can do clouds any way you want. I'm going to do it to where it's a little more time efficient for myself. All right. So we get with this ultramarine stuff. I kind of like the color here of the ultramarine blue. So I get a bit, I'll just drag it out a little bit. Up top here, we'll kind of keep it kind of heavy. I'll just get some more. And I want it a little thick, a little heavier up top here. One thing is to cover a lot of that black. The black will show through a little bit, but not really too much. But I want it, you know, I wanted a deeper version of that blue. Okay, which is why I'm coating it the way I am. Now, as I'm doing it now, I'll just gently just bring that stuff all the way down here. X strokes, just kind of borrow a little bit and just put it down there. See, Now as it mixes with the white, obviously it brightens up. Okay, and I'll keep messing with it and keep messing with it. We'll come down here and do the same thing, bring it right into that white. Bring it on down there. Mix it right in. And keep going at it. And as you can see, it does brighten up. I'll just take my brush and brush it back and forth. The paint's still moving around, still doing what it's doing. I'll just brush it back and forth. Nice even little swath of color there. Just like so. Doesn't have to be perfectly even. It can be as bright or as dark as you want it. It's really up to you. I'll keep it like that. All right. Okay. Clean off your brush pretty good. I'll get one of the softer fan brushes and we'll wisp away with some clouds in there. And drag it out here. One of the most simple ways to do clouds, really. Up to you how much, where you want your clouds, how much of your clouds you want in there. Really up to you. Now this is what's called incidental or accidental in doing clouds and trees and grass and waves. I can guide the brush where to go. So I want it here on top of the barn. I can guide it. I already know I'm going to twist it. I'm going slow here, but you don't know really how it's going to act or react. Okay, and so I'll just kind of come out here and come out here. I'm just bopping it around and whatnot. I'll bring some down here. You see it's picking up that blue also. A little bright on this side, but it's picking up the blue over there. Yeah. I'm not going to clean the brush. I'll just get a little bit more on the brush. I'm not cleaning the brush. Just go up here and twist it around. I'll just take it and go down this way. Something like that. All right. Okay. And we'll mess with that for a little while. You can use this brush to blend all of that in, or you can use essentially it's a makeup brush. I got makeup brushes of various sizes. All right, I tend to favor this one. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, and you take your makeup brush now. I want you to look at this. And you see a little peak up there? All right, that's what's actually touching your canvas, not all of this. Okay. All right, let's go where the bright stuff is. I'm gonna just take it and I'll just kind of swirl it around. I always kind of like to blend in my clouds from the bottom. It's just me. I'm actually blending it in right over the tape itself. I can add a little pressure whatnot, and you can kind of do a little X thing there like that. When it comes to the top, you kind of move it around, wisp it like this, any direction you really want. It's really up to you how you want your clouds represented, how you want them seen. Okay, just like so. The more you blend in the spot, the more they blend, the clouds actually blend into the paint. So you can create all sorts of dimension and depth just doing that. And once again, I'm just doing little circle things here. You'll get used to doing them the more you do it. Okay, I can kind of crisscross and fade some of that stuff out, or just stay there and let it blend in. As I'm doing it, I'm picking and choosing where I want stuff blended in. Okay, some of it I like to keep a little brighter, a little heavier. Some of it, I can just blend it out. It's really up to you how far you want to go with the blend. Okay, you don't have to go in circular motions if you don't want to. I tend to do it out of force of habit, and I like the way it looks when I do it. Like I say, down below here, I can just blend this right into the sky, just like that. Some of the intensity I want to keep, so I won't blend as much. Once again, it's really up to you how much of this you want. Now, as you can see, these clouds over here on this side are a little more on that blue side. So now you can establish more depth if you want by just adding more white to the clouds. This is the barn, it really doesn't matter, but I'll just blend it all in as one anyway. You act like the barn doesn't exist, like it doesn't even belong there or whatever. Okay. I'm not necessarily getting rid of the intensity of the white, but I'm just kind of, you know, do a little soft blending like that just to kind of soften some things. Because if you put another layer on here, now it adds more dimension. The next layer will be brighter than what you just put on there. You got me? So let's take the same fan brush. I'll show you the example over here somewhere. I'll go back into nothing but titanium white. All right. And I want to keep the intensity of the brightness this time. All right, so we're gonna have another layer. So we'll pop the other layer here, kind of come here a little bit, and we'll kind of bring it in this way. But you see it's fairly bright. All right. And I can kind of, I don't want to kill the brightness, so I'll kind of layer it a little bit, mix it up there. I don't want to kill all that brightness. And then I'll come down here and bring it. See, I'm just getting rid of the bottom edge. Okay. Not necessarily getting rid of the intensity of the bright cloud, but just kind of wisping some of that out of there. Now you've got a cloud back here in front of the other one, and all you did really is just keep it brighter. If you don't want those little hair things sticking up, just fade them away a little, just like that. Now you got a brighter cloud in front of the other ones back there, and you can lightly just wisp it and blend it. Very easy to do so with things like that. All right, pretty neat little effect. Not necessarily, you don't necessarily know how much of that you're going to keep. You don't know how much of this is going to be hidden. All right, because you don't know. You know, it depends on how large you want your trees. Okay, so all of that might be hidden. You don't know. Okay, it really depends on what you're looking for and what you want. Okay, in your painting. All right. And I'm checking it out. I'm looking at it. I think that's pretty fair. That's okay. That'd be good. I cleaned off the brush extremely well. Last thing you want is your brush to be caked with a lot of water and a lot of paint. Doesn't take very long for these brushes to dry. Well, your hounds are on it. I believe I heard them. I really don't pay attention because I'm so used to the happenings going on. Then again, it could have been the sirens from outside, or it could have been the TV. They might have heard. Like I said, I wasn't really paying attention. I keep the TV on because I like the light background noise. All right, so we pretty much got that all set. Wherever you want to have your land, entirely up to you. I believe I may have somewhat probably sketched it out somewhere around in here. I'll just use this. I don't know exactly where it was land-wise. I'll just keep it like that. And I think the land was somewhere over there. something like that. You guys barely see it. Not really mark it. You guys can see that line there a little bit. Kind of. But there, you guys can see it's over there somewhere. All right, maybe a little lower. Who knows? I'll just wipe that out and put it back like that. All right. Yeah, the ground is somewhere over there. Up to you where you want to go with that. Doesn't matter. All right, let's look at this palette here. Oh, I guess we can get rid of some of this. I'll scrape a little bit of that. Now, as the paint gets thin, it dries that much faster. Thin paint doesn't take to air very well. It does dry up and harden, which is what you're looking at right now. All right, obviously I use a whole bunch of this, so it's already dry and useless. So I can get rid of that too. That's no good. We're gonna work on the darker trees here. I do have blue, green, and orange. Now, blue and orange are opposites on the color wheel. It tend to gray out a little bit. I can use the Prussian blue and a little bit of the green, so I'll take a little bit of Prussian blue. We'll put it right there. We'll take a little bit of the green. I just want something dark. All right. So we'll take the sap green, Prussian blue. We'll mix that in. All right. I know I snuck in some white in there, but that's okay. It's not going to really matter much. So we got a nice looking deep green color. I could probably work with that. Why not? We'll work with that. Let's make these trees a little more approachable for everybody, because not everybody have the same brushes that I have. So maybe I'll use this. I'll play around with this brush. This is another makeup brush, but as you can see, if I bring it a little closer here, all right, it does have a weird peak. It got that little peak to it. It is a makeup brush, or but we're going to use this. I'm going to probably wet this paint a little bit. A thinner paint sticks to a thicker paint, but we got just thin paint up here. But we're going to loosen up this paint a little bit and get interesting little leaf patterns with this brush. All right, like I say, it's just a little makeup brush, and I want interesting little patterns for the background trees. This is making little gaps actually, but that's all right. We'll work with it. It will look like that. So I'll probably see. So I'll put it to the side. No, it's too gappy. I don't want to work with that. It separates too much, so that's not going to work very well. So I might have to go with, I guess I can do them with a fan brush. That won't, it'd be all right. I don't necessarily want to do it with a fan brush. I want different variety for the trees. I'll do it with this brush. Now I'll show you with this one. This is well, it's a big flat brush, but it's got thicker bristles there. That's kind of what you're looking for. All right, so I'll use this. Now I'm not going to use all the brush, but I'll pounce the paint into the bristles like you see me doing. I'll probably end up using maybe the corner of the brush, but I want interesting little treetops. The height of the barn is way up here. Okay, I don't necessarily have to have my trees up that high. All right, but I'll start them fairly low up around in here, and I'll just play around with the edge like you see me doing right now. I'm only using the corner of the brush. It gives me very interesting looking tree patterns. You want them to look as though a bird can fly right through the top. Okay, I'm not really concerned about down below yet. I am looking for, I'm just bringing some of the leaf patterns downward, but I'm looking for little gaps in the top of those trees once again, to make it look a little interesting, the tapping that I'm doing is adding to the texture of these fellows. And I'll kind of bring a nice one up here. I'm turning the brush around. Once again, getting interesting little shapes and patterns going on with them. All right. Put a little bit of those clouds showing through. Okay. Now, as I go further down, it's going to get thicker and thicker. You got me? I'll just use the brush itself. I'm using the two colors, the blue and the green. Mix it in there. Okay. I pound the paint into the bristles, and once again, just kind of, I use the corner of the brush there because I like the patterns. I like the two colors are not perfectly blended, so you're gonna get some dark and some light spots in there. Now remember that glycerin's still wet over this paint, but it's just the texture that I'm looking for. All right. And I'm going a little deeper in color, and I'm going a little heavier because the greenery, the shrubs down here are a little more dense. All right. I didn't forget the other side over there. I'll get to it. But just like that. Come over here on the other side. You can have, remember the barn is up here, the tip of the barn. We can have one kind of, we have a nice sized tree coming over the mid part of the barn here. Just put something over there, just like that. All right, then you continue it on over here. All right, and we'll once again make it pretty deep and dense down here, like so. Like that. Okay. I'm still looking at it here, picking away at it. If I want it a little more dense, a little darker there, I'll just add more blue to what left of the green. You can add brown, whatever color you want to kind of deepen that green. And I'm just looking for just deeper foliage down here. I want it deep on the bottom. You can always blend this in. Even when you're pouncing, you can still lightly blend that darkness up into the lighter green and still keep that textured look. Okay. And essentially that's all I'm doing, is just getting that little darker. Come back up here and do the same thing. It's all up to you. How dark do you want this stuff? How deep do you want the foliage to be back there? It's up to you. Your choice. All right. I don't necessarily have to highlight that. There's enough of the white clouds showing in through there. All right. See. Make sure the little spaces are in there for the little birdies can get through it. All right. Okay. If you want little tree trunks in there, up to you. It's your choice, your taste. If you want it, while it's still wet, you can take the back end of one of these, the brush, and you put them in there. Up to you. You can kind of pop them in and out. Because the background is black, you might not see it too well. Okay, if you use something sharper, it might cut through the dried paint. It might cut through. Depends on how hard you press. Okay, but you can see that. So it's up to you if you want to add it this way. See? There. And so it's up to you if you want to add all that in. Okay. I'll put a few in there. Come out this way a little bit and come out in here. But like I say, it's up to you if you want to add all of that. You don't necessarily have to. You can if you want, or you just leave it dense and green. Entirely up to you, your choice. All right. Okay, I don't have to truly highlight all of that. That really won't be necessary. Let's work with the ground more or less. All right. There's one spot I have to darken up. I didn't, well, no, I won't. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm gonna have to darken that up because I forgot about it. To the spot by its horn, I didn't think about it. I forgot. And sometimes that does happen when you mask an object. There might be a spot that you just forget about. And I did forget. I thought it was part of the barn, but as I'm looking at it, it's not. It's right in here. There. Right up in there. I just forgot that was even there. But I got it. It's just in there. When it dries, you won't even notice that, you know, but sometimes you do forget. I did forget. All right. Let's deal with the ground right now. When you're masking an object, let me read here. Why doesn't anybody talk to me? Hold on for a second. Somebody is, oh. Gracie. Well, hello, Gracie. You can say hi, Gracie. No one's gonna bite your head off, Gracie. Say hello to everybody, Gracie. Gracie's from England. It should be a little bit after 5 o'clock now over there, but Gracie's a little shy. I don't understand why, but she's a little shy. But everybody say hello to Gracie. Let Gracie know you're not gonna beat her down half, and you're not gonna cannibalize her or anything. Okay, we'll get the ground situated here. I'm gonna use a thicker brush because it kind of helps out time-wise. So let's take what I have left here, because we can always add more. I'm gonna take what's left of the blue and the green. I'll put it right here. Okay. We obviously need a whole lot more than that, so I'll use. I guess I can stick with a little bit of Prussian blue. So we'll get a little bit of Prussian blue out here. You know what? I think I'll use yellow ochre. Get a different flavor of green for the base color. So I'll use yellow ochre and blue. Okay. And then we'll just kind of mix it in there. I'll take the palette knife and we'll quickly mix this stuff together. Yellow ochre and Cad Yellow are obviously two different yellows. The ochre got a little bit of brown in it. It's going to give us a different flavor of green. I have to mix plenty because the brush I'm going to use uses a lot of paint. Okay. All right, that's a pretty cool green. It's fun mixing different varieties and different colors of green. You can use different colors. We know that blue and yellow makes green, but what kind of blue? What kind of yellow? Do you want to use Indian yellow? Do you want to use yellow ochre? Do you want to use Cad Yellow light, medium? Each one will give you a different color of green. All right, you can have a ball with it. You can use raw or burnt umber, okay, and put yellow with it and see what happens, okay. Or put a certain variety of blue or orange with it and see what happens. It turns green. All right, black and yellow turns green. Okay, so you can use different varieties of green. I'm gonna use a 1-inch brush from a very famous Afroed individual that I cannot say the name too much because, you know, people like to sue. See, Gracie, I told you. Sonia, she's shy. But she is watching because she just texted me and told me she's watching. But she's a shy bird, but she's very nice. She's a watercolor artist from England, so it's about 5 p.m. there, I believe. 5:10 in the afternoon where she is. So, okay, I'm using, now there's no glycerin here, so this is just wet on dry right now. All right, I used the glycerin up here just to smooth out the clouds and get all the cloud stuff happening. All right, and that's it. All right, so we're gonna block in the grass area. Now, since we have a black background here, all right, and this brush, this one brush, as you can see, it's just filled with bristles here. Okay, we're gonna just block in our grass. And even from here, you can really, it's up to you how much or how high you want to keep your grass area. I'm just blocking it in. Now, why am I blocking it in when I can just wipe the paint across this? Why am I doing it this way? More or less for the texture. I really don't want too much black to show. It's going to show anyway once this stuff dries because you're applying paint to a very dark surface. All right, and like I said, I don't have no glycerin is going on here, so it's really, once again, wet on dry because I want the paint to dry almost instantly, and it will. All right, it will dry quickly, and I wanted that. Once again, it's more or less for the sake of time than anything else. And yes, I'm covering the creature up. You can cover the beastie. It's all right. Cover the beastie. Make him look like he doesn't even exist. Cover him right up. With this type of tape, you can. I'm doing this on purpose. I don't have to do what I just did, but I'm gonna do it on purpose. Just cover him up. So if somebody pops in here and I'm talking about a dinosaur and they don't see anything, it's all covered up. Now, I'm a geek and I do love Godzilla and Kong, and you would figure I would paint a lot more of those, right? I don't. Why? Well, just because I like to paint them, don't mean that they'll actually sell. You know, nobody wants a very beautiful sunset with a dinosaur in the middle of it. Not too many people get into that, so I don't do them. And plus, when you do reptiles and stuff like that, they're very bumpy and scaly, and it takes a little time to do them. Like it takes time to paint a bird or a buffalo. Getting those scales and stuff in there correctly. Now, as you'll see, I am not letting a lot of that black show through, but it will show through once this paint dries. One, acrylic paint dries flat, which appears darker to begin with, but when you are painting on top of black, it makes it even that much deeper. So you have to think about that. All right, maybe I'll show you one day. I'll paint half a scene in black and leave the other one white and just do the scene, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right. If I put grass over half a scene that's covered in black and then just covered in just plain white, you will see the color shift. It does make a difference. Okay. All right. All covered in. You just got that little bright spot there. Okay, but she's essentially pretty much covered in there. I don't necessarily have to do what I'm about to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway just to kind of even that up back there. Okay. All right, so we've got the land happening back there. Yeah, we're good up here. We're fine up there. All right, so we got our land covered, and now we can put our lighter areas of grass in this. Now I'll show you later. Let's get a little bit of we'll do it this way first. We'll use a little bit of this Cad Yellow. It's a different yellow. Now, Cad Yellow, this version of yellow isn't as strong as yellow ochre. It's very translucent. Okay, so sometimes it needs a little help. All depends on what the ratio of yellow to green is. So I didn't put any white or anything in this. I'll just use yellow right now with the green that's already on my brush. Okay, it will brighten it up because it's just the paint on my brush. I'll use all the yellow up here. I'll push it in the bristles. All right. I don't want definitely a total point. This brush has been beat down pretty good over the years. So, okay, and we'll get some bright patches in there. Now, the barn has two sides. There's a shaded side, and then there's the lit side. I'm going to determine that the shaded side is over here. So a lot of that yellow stuff won't be shown on this side. I'm going to show you how that goes, but let's establish at least where the ground starts in the shrubs in the back. Begin. All right, there is Gracie Shack. Hello, Gracie. Well, Gracie, meet everybody. We have a very lively, humorous crowd here. I start off at the back here. As you see, it's not super bright. Okay, now you can kind of plan where you want your light green stuff to be. Okay, now this is the lit area, so you can kind of have a little fun here and pop them in there, but I can only go so far because I'm painting over the dino also. Now once again, I can only bring this stuff so far down. I'm gonna turn my brush around. We got a little bit more happening there. There we go. Once again, I can only go so far, and I'm doing it in a kind of a hill formation. And once again, this is wet on dry. All right, I'll bring some of that down here in the foreground here area, just like that. All right, I skipped this little spot over here because it's going to be a little darker, but we're going to have a little fun. All right, okay, so we've got our area, just showing you where the light area is on this. All right, we're not going to keep it too light over on this. This is the shaded area over here. All right, let's clean off this brush. I'm going to have to break down and buy a couple more of these brushes. I enjoy the brush. I like it, but this brush is 10 years old or so. It's a little long in the tooth. I do have another one somewhere around here, but I might have to buy some more of these brushes because this one, like I say, it's a little long in the tooth. All right, and they take quite a bit of paint to get the effects. Here, watch this. You don't really see me, and you see me use a fan brush to put detail in grass, but we'll use this one. This one here, once again, it's got some bristles and stuff going through it. All right, but it's essentially just a thick flat brush, which got plenty of bristles in there. We'll use this for some of the highlights. we'll get some more yellow. Now what I'm going to do with this yellow, we'll put it right here. I don't need too much yellow for the highlight. So we got a little dot there. All right. We're going to go into our, just a little touch of white, and we're going to just bump up that yellow a little bit, going into this green. Now that, as you can see, really bump up that yellow. Very bright. Okay. This brush is thick, bristled brush. I'm going to just tap it a little bit, open up the bristle a bit. Okay. Now, depending on the type of brush you use, that's the pattern you're going to get. Now, if you're, oh no, is she put in the corner again? Oh my gosh. Now, I did not put Sonia in the corner. Who's going? She's very sweet, Sonia. She's very nice, good people. Gotta get her out of that shell though. Okay, so we got our beat down brush here. This brush has been through a few wars, but they make the best texture brushes. All right, always in the background, you kind of want to frame out your background. A couple of little shy, little touchies back there, just to let people know where the background is here. Okay, and I'll kind of get a little patchy hill thing going, just like this. Do it a little bit at a time. I'll bring some down here. I'm painting all on top of the dinosaur, it don't matter. Okay. Oh, I'll bring a few bits in here, just like that. Come down here, add a few. And what I'll do, I'll show it to you here. Is that, let's say over here, if I want a nice little patch of something, I'll bring it. Let's see that's where his head is. Okay, this is behind him. I'll go over here. I'll bring some out like this, as long as you want it. So I'll kind of curve it here, but you make it kind of thick up here. Just tap, then it gets a little more narrow and you curve it. Now, going out this way, you just make it a little more sparse, like that. So you got a high point, and it just narrows out to wherever you want it to kind of narrow out to. Come out here, you can spread out a little bit and kind of make it narrow there. Maybe you come out this way and add some little wider here, right? But you go upward, just like that, and you kind of open it up a little bit, make it a little sparse, just like that. You don't have to cover every single little bit of grass, just little patches here and there. Come out here. Once again, they're called incidentals. You can guide it, but you don't know exactly what's going to happen. But little incidentals, little things like this. Okay, you can put some stuff in between if you would like. Because now you got little pockets of like little depressions in there. And you didn't even try hard to get it to look like that. Okay, the lit side is over here, so you can kind of play around in here a little bit. All right, right where the doors are. Okay, all right. Let's have a little fun. I'm playing with the area of land, getting all of what I want to get in there, make it look pretty interesting, make it look pretty cool. Getting it all in there before we start unmasking some of these things here. The dino will probably be unmasked last. We'll probably unmask the house and deal with that. But once again, let's play around in here first before we start unmasking things. All right, I'm going to go to a fan brush, but before I do that, let's clean up some of this. I don't necessarily need to use the yellow, so we'll just kind of get the rubbing alcohol and put it in there. This is where, okay, yeah, it's the rubbing alcohol. It only takes a few seconds for the rubbing alcohol to get in there, and then as you can see, it lifts right up. I just want to clean it up so you guys can clearly see what kind of mixes I'm doing, how I'm doing certain things here. All right. Let's bring that back this way toward me here. There we go. And I'll just kind of put it on the blade and dump it. All right. I think Jessica had made a comment yesterday about getting paint on her hands, or she's trying not to get paint on her hands. I think I told her, yeah, good luck with that. Be grateful that it only landed on your hands and not on your clothes, or in your hair, or the side of your face or your jaw, like it does me. I don't know how I got paint on the back of my head one time. I don't understand that, but it does happen. All right, I just cleaned it up just for a little clear spot here. We're gonna have a little fun, like I said. I like doing the splatter deal because I just like it. I guess that's the little kid in me. Let's use what do we use? We'll use this. I'm gonna show you what this brand of paint is. This is it's heavier paint, but it's still kind of liquefied. The Waverly, and this is, they call it Peacock, but ain't nothing but sky blue, same color blue here, like an ultramarine type of color. All right, why do they give these names? Who knows? I'll just tell you the truth on what the color actually is. Okay, I've never really got too close to a peacock to see, hey, and bring the can of paint to me. All right, so I'll take their word for it if it's peacock. All right, but as you can see, let me show you something. Okay, that's peacock, right? All right, that's peacock. Here's turquoise green. I'm gonna put turquoise green right here. Now you tell me the difference. All right, other than turquoise is darker, but it's the same color. All right. I tell you, sometime. Anyway, let's take a fan brush. We'll take this little tiny fella, and we're gonna add some color into these. Now, this and green are very close in relation to each other. Okay, we'll kind of pump up the color a little bit. We'll add a little bit of white here and get a little touch of that and pop it in there. There, like that. So we'll brighten it up a little bit, get a little bit of water and put it in there, just like so. Just a little bit. You don't want it too watery because then it starts to run. You don't want that. All right, let's go over here on this side because it's going to be cooler here, shadowed here. All right, so we'll put some of this color, even though I brightened the color. All right, we'll kind of get those. See this? See what's going on? Look at that. So we'll put a few of those in there, just like that. All right. You might not see them too well, but it's in there. And we'll pop a few here where, you know, where it's closer to us. We'll pop a few of those lovelies in there like this. The more water you have, the bigger the droplets also. All right. I'll get a touch of water and I'll show you. I'll show you down below here. But the more water, the bigger the droplets. I'll put a couple of those guys down here, like a little bit like that. Okay. All right. Now, for some reason, we are really drawn to the color red. Red is a fire brand. If you put red anywhere, our eyes are going to go to it. You got me. So we'll not maybe use the red. We'll use a relative of red. We'll use some of this orange. Get a little bit of white, pop it in that orange, like so. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of water, of course, and put it in there. All right. The orange will go up here where it's a little bit brighter. And you, just like that, pop some of that in there. Up top here. Now, if it gets up in your trees, don't worry about it. We just wipe that away. But in order to get away with it, you have to bring your brush a little close to the canvas to do these. All right, so we got our little grassy things happening here. Don't worry if it gets up in the trees, you can just pat those away. It's all right. If it gets on the barn, it's okay. Let it get in the barn. Pop a little bit of those bright things over there too. Okay, just like so. Once again, get all of this in there while you got the time to, and while you got the mask, put them in there. Put them in there. Whatever you want in there, put them in. All right. And since I'm still playing around, and because I'm doing it because I want to do it, I don't do it too much, but let's just take titanium white, which once again covers death. Okay. So we'll take some of this white and we'll play in here. Just a few bits in there. Come back behind the dinosaur itself. And so also another slick little way of me framing the dinosaur itself once I put her in there. All right, just like that. Just little bits and pieces of things. So when you add larger bushes or whatever you're going to add in here, all right, it gives it a little more of a natural look, especially when you add like tall grasses or, you know, stems of grass going through. Now, for those of you who popped on here, yes, there is a dinosaur in here. It's in here. You don't see it because I covered everything. Okay, which is the general idea. The reason why I covered everything is that you don't want to really lose the flow of your painting. Okay, so if you did mask something, like I masked the barn, if you did mask something, paint over it like it doesn't exist. That way you're not losing, once again, the flow of the painting. Yes, I know the spots are here, and it's okay. One, you're not going to notice it when everything's all said and done anyway. All right, you're not even going to pay attention to what little dots are up there. All right, okay. Yes, dirty paint water drinking. I mean, you can disguise it with a little bit of hey, Miss Southern Belle, how are you? I mean, you can put a little sugar, kind of mask it, and give it to the husband or whatever. But I you know, it's good to see you, Miss Belle. How are you? Masking two subjects, painting over it. One of the subjects is a dinosaur. Yes, a dinosaur. Okay. We're really working this scenery together. As I'm looking at certain things and getting them prepared for to be unmasked, I'm going to take a fan brush. I'll just take the same fan brush, and we're going to play around with a little touch of this turquoise color, what's left of the yellow, just like that. We'll put it in here, and look at this type of green that we have going on here. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of that orange, and we're going to kill some of that. We're going to darken it up a little bit. The more orange I use, probably the little browner it's going to get, because blue and orange are opposite each other on the color wheel. So it's getting darker, believe it or not. Even with that light blue, the orange is knocking out that color. And the more orange I add, the browner it's going to get. This is what color opposites do. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, if I want it a little darker than that, a little deeper, I just add more brown. All right. But I'm going to just take this color, and I'll just come in here and I'll add little bits of this darker color just here and there in this darker area. Not too much, but I'm gonna pop in a few bits in there. All right, but once again, this is where the shadow side of the shadow side of the barn, essentially. Okay. Interesting little patches in here, little groupings. trying to establish a little bit of a path, a little lead down in here. So as I'm putting it in here, I do have to establish. I'll kind of dip some of that so I can still give a direction of where things are headed here. You can still see the little splatter that I did put in there. Once again, this is the darker area. It's a different color of green, as you can tell. Once it dries, it will dry darker. Once again, you put all this stuff in here as you can before you unmask the rest of this stuff. All right. Okay, I know Gracie wrote to me. Where did she say to me here? All right, let's see if I gotta hit the there. When you guys see me reach back and tap, I'm tapping the screen to focus. It's not automatic focus. I took that off because then you'll see the picture just vibrate all the time, and we don't want that. So I just click on the screen and it focuses to wherever I actually point on the screen. Okay, so it kind of brings everything into focus. All right. Now, I am deciding right now on what type of, we're going to throw, we'll throw a pine in there somewhere. We'll throw a pine in somewhere. Now, once again, I'm throwing these trees in here just for a sense of depth, really. Okay, I don't necessarily want to add any highlights to these trees in the back here. I like the way they look right now with their different tones of green in them, and they got the sky going through. So we're gonna leave that the way it is. I am going to put a pine tree in here. Dino is here. Because the head is here, the frill, the back, and his tail. Oh, that's the dog making those sounds. All right, the tail is here. As I'm looking at it, the tail's right here. The leg is here. The other leg is here. So the tree, I think I'm gonna put the tree somewhere up here. It's gonna establish a sense of depth once again, but it has to be behind the animal. And so it has to be somewhere up here. Now remember, this is wet on dry, so look at that. It's dry. Okay, see? One of the advantages of wet on dry, I dare not do it up here, all right, because of the glycerin. But it is dry here, because once again, acrylic paint, wet on dry, nothing. All right, see, nothing, it's gone, it's dry. So let's put the tree, probably I'll put it up here. Okay, if I happen to add anything else, it has to be when this barn is finished and when this animal over here is finished. I'm gonna do a few things before I do it. Let's glaze some more shadow here, because this is the shadow side of the barn. All right, we have to glaze underneath this animal because there's shadow here. So let's show you that. You might want cookies, Sonia, but you know, for some reason I didn't read all the chat, but you ended up in the corner again. I don't know what is it with you in that corner. Unless she has cookies stashed in the corner and she's throwing you off her trail, but I don't know. You know, I don't know how malicious she is. Yeah, the gentleman who everybody calls Meatloaf was pretty, very talented, very talented. You couldn't take that away from him. That's for one thing. Actor, singer, performer, smart guy too. So, but yeah, you can't take his talent away. You know. All right. He may not have fit the image of what they perceive a rocker should look, but to him it didn't matter. Let's take a little bit of what I don't want to take, but for time constraints, we're gonna do it. I don't really like dealing with black paint much, but we'll pop it in there. Once again, it's more for time constraints than anything else. We'll take the black. I'll deal with the black and sap green today. We'll do it this way. So I'll pop the sap green where the yellow is, because we're not going to really need highlights here. We just need a dark color. All right. I'll do this a different way. I usually would make a glaze and just glaze the color on, which I can. It looks cool. But let's do it this way today. Let's just I'll take the same fan brush and we'll just pat the color, and I'll show you with the white pencil here where we're going with this, because you don't really see it too well because I painted over it. Put the barns here. You're not going to see where the pencil line is, but the corner of the barn is here. All right, so essentially, if I can, I can get away with it with the white. Actually, it's this way, and I can have it go straight down or I can curve it. But you know what? We'll just have it go all the way down. Now, the back of the barn is like, well, there's like a little ramp here. Okay, so anywhere from this white chalk line that you can barely see, but it is there, I'll make a little dips and everything, and it goes down. All right, but we're gonna shade all of that. Okay, it will make sense once I uncover the barn. But all this will be in dark. Okay. But I'll do it in a way, I think it would be smarter if I glaze that, because we got all sorts of things happening in here. And if I use this brush to do the grass layers, it's gonna kill all of that. So let's not do that. So we'll take a flat brush. Yeah, perfect. We'll take a 3/4 inch flat. All right, so let's look down here. I can do this one of two ways, and I'm gonna do it the other way. I'll do it with the glycerin. We're gonna add a little bit of glycerin, very little glycerin. We're gonna add more glycerin than paint. I'm gonna take the sap green, put it right there in the glycerin, just like this. All right, just like that. Take a little bit of black and put it in with that green. Get some more green, put it in there. And we're just making a deep shadow with the glycerin. Okay, no water. Don't use water for this. I'm going in with my brush with the paint on it and just getting a little more glycerin to put it in there to kind of. Now glycerin, what it's going to do, besides make it blend, it's going to make this paint, this thick paint, more transparent. You follow me? Okay, more transparent. You're going to see through this. All right, oh, here, let's just take this. Let's come over here. And what I'm going to do, now remember, when you put glycerin on, see this? It instantly gets it deep and dark. But when it dries, guess what? You will still see all those little happenings in there. Okay. I'm going right by the edge. Right by the edge in there. And you can actually go back over this and go back over this. It all depends, it's up to you. There won't be any streaks either. It kind of pans and fills itself right out. All right, now I don't have to have such a sharp line there. I'll just get rid of this white line here. I'll just scratch that, rub that out of there. It's no big deal. But you can soften, you can use your finger just to soften it. Just like so, just soften it. So it naturally blends. You see that little soft gradation that's going on there, but you can see obviously there's a shadow there. You follow me? All right, we still got some more of this. You guys don't see the creature, but the creature is, there's the foot is right here. And we're just gonna, there's the other foot right there. And we're gonna darken all of that all up in here. I'm just looking to where his little belly is there. There, all up in here. It's dark. Okay. There's his tail is back here. So we're gonna darken that part. There's his foot, but his tail's back there. Kind of weird because you don't know where he is exactly, but he's there, and you'll see it'll all make sense once I unmask him. His great big bird beak head is up around in here somewhere, and this is all we're gonna do. We're just gonna kind of just like that. All right, I'm using the side of the I don't know why I know why my camera came out of focus, because it's got to compete with that shine back there. So my dark face, that shine, is competing, and that's why it fluctuated. Because I thought, look, I was like, why am I out of focus over there? I forgot. All right, that has automatic focus, so that's why I don't put automatic focus on that camera back there, for that very reason you've seen down below. But anyway, shadow, instant shadow. Okay, all I used was black and a little bit of that green. All right, so just because you use black, now black is not technically a color. A black is a shade. White, technically not a color, it's a tint. So white is tint, it lightens. Black is shade, it darkens. You know, shade, dark. All right, okay, all right. Okay, so once again, I put the darkness in here, put the darkness under the creature itself. Okay, the back of the creature is right here. You guys don't see it, but the tree, I don't have to, but I'm going to add another tree once again, a sense of depth, because we're essentially in a field here, and the only thing that's really in the field alive is this guy. Okay, so we'll pop something up in here. I won't have it go to the tippy top, but I'll put it back there. I can probably use this very, I don't want to use this brush. I'll use the other brush. I like to use the other brush because once again, it's kind of on the thick side, and it will give me the texture I want for the leaves. I just had it, and I don't know where I placed it. I placed it in there somewhere. I'm looking for it, I'm looking. If I don't see it, I'll just use my sub. I'll use the sub brush. I'll use this guy's bigger brush. Once again, now this is actually a large, bright brush. Yeah, size 12 is a big one. All right, it's an inch. All right, but it's a bright brush if it was in better condition, but it's curved on the edges. A flat brush is just angular, 90-degree edges. This one's curved in a little bit, but that's all right. Look at the thickness here. This is what I'm talking about. That's perfect shot right there. It's all the bristles that are in it. This would be perfect for the type of pine tree I want to do. Okay. Yeah, it's the same with oils. Watercolors uses the white of the paper, so when it dries, the watercolor gets lighter because it's got to fight with the white of the paper. So watercolor, when it dries lighter. All right. Acrylics dry darker. It dries through evaporation. So when applied, it's shiny and very bright. But as it evaporates, all right, the color flattens. Oil paint, what you see is what you get. Oil paint dries through oxidation. So if it's a vivid color when you put it on wet, when it dries, it's still that same vivid color. It doesn't fade. Okay. No, it doesn't fade at all. It's still very vibrant. All right. Acrylics tend to go dark because it just evaporates. All right, so you get a deeper version of what you put on there. Watercolor goes in the opposite direction. It goes on dark, but because it's competing with the white of the paper and it's a thin paint, it dries and the white still shows through, so it dries lighter, if you can understand that. Okay. I'm looking at Sonia's comment. Hey, Rosemary, how are you? Yeah, we got the gang here. We got the gang here. I'm pretty sure a certain person is already got their hot chocolate and, you know, sitting down and watching. Okay, since we got this black here, I might as well utilize it for the tree. It's a different type of tree. I like doing these. I'll just use the black. Actually, I'll use a little bit of green and black together. Okay. I'll use green and black together. I like doing this type of tree. This is called, I call it my Willie tree. My late instructor passed away very suddenly, very recently. Okay, I don't know if it's even been a month, maybe 2.5 weeks maybe. They taught us how to do these trees, and we just named it the Willie tree. I'm looking for where the creature's tail is and where his back is, which is like right here. I want the tree in this area. All right, so I can't have it lower than the dino. So the tree, yes, I said dino, Rosemary. The tree will be here. So I will put kind of a line here to see how tall I want this guy. I don't want it all the way to the top. I'll put it right about there. Now what I'll do with the brush is just take the brush, okay, and I'll tap, but I'm tapping a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right as I'm going down. It gets wider and wider as I go down. That means I'm angling the brush a little more and more as I go downward. Just like that, it goes kind of flat to where I want it there. All right. And I want it to be a little airy. Little birdies will still get the kind of flop through it here and there. And I'll get them molded a little bit, depending on how wide I want the tree itself. Okay. Something like that. I always kind of like my trees really thick in the middle, and it gets a little airy and everything out toward the edges there. So I like all of my inches to be on the sides of the tree. That's just me. Okay. Much like that. And basically I just want it there. Okay. Now with the same brush, I'm going to take it. Now see where the shadow is here, and I'll just take this brush very, very lightly, and I will add its little darkness, its little shade here. I'm gonna keep adding that little shade all down in here a little bit. Have it go. It's going down the hill a little bit. Okay, all in here. It's all right. I don't need it really super perfect, but just in there, just to give it its own shadow there. Of course, the shadow's a little darker here, and you can still see things underneath that little shadow. All right, okay. But I needed to put that in there. I don't have any white. I need just a little touch of white. I don't particularly care for doing this, but people like it. And I'll show it because it gives you an option. I'll take a little bit of white here. I'll put it right there. A little touch of black. We'll gray it up a little bit. We'll marble it. Just a tad. All right. It's not really perfectly white. Doesn't need to be. We'll get a little bit of it. We'll come in here. Come where the center is, and we'll put a little bit of like I said, I don't really care for doing it too much, but some people like the way it looks. And I'll put the little shrunk in there like that. All right, that's all. Okay, let's go into our green. We'll put it right here. A little touch of white in there. We'll kind of pop it in there. This should be enough. Go into the water. A thin paint sticks to a thicker, tackier paint. Okay. All right. That should work. The light source is coming from the left-hand side over there. So we'll kind of give it a little tap. And as I'm doing it, I'm just going to play around with I'm coming from the center, but I'm going outward with the brush. All right. And I'll come on the other side a little bit. Give very interesting little taps, little bits to this. I mean, have a little fun with it. Just like that. It doesn't take much. All right. It doesn't take much at all. All right. I'll add a little bit of this turquoise. We'll pop the turquoise in there. And this will be the cool side, the other side of the tree. Okay. Just a little bit. And we'll come on the other side and give a little playful tap. Out here a little bit. Bring some of that color to the other part of the tree. Don't get rid of all the dark. Just like so. Okay. Now, the tree's got to stand out a little bit more, so we're going to add a little touch of highlight to the one side. I can just use the tip of this brush. I'll go here, put some of that brightness there. Sorry about that. Dig into a little bit of that green. I'm just going to use the tip of the brush very lightly, just kind of lightly press, lightly touch it there. And I'm only going to really touch the outer edges of the tree a little bit. It'll frame the tree. Okay. Bring some of that in the inside there. You'd be surprised. You might have to go a little brighter to show that the tree is actually there. But much like that, just to kind of show that it is there. Okay. But I don't want it like super vibrant or anything, but just to know that, you know, it's hanging around, it's there saying hello to everybody. All right. Okay. Hey, Flea Stack, what's going on? Yeah, I decided to put a dino in there. And I don't know if we'll continue, if I'll go straight through with this, or I'll continue or do the dino last. We'll see. That all depends on how I feel, how you guys feel. We're at 90 minutes already, which is pretty cool. 90 minutes, I think it's pretty tolerable for a painting like this. I can probably stop here and just take a break. Yeah, because it's going on 1 o'clock. Where's Jessica? I'll wait till she replies. But as I'm waiting for her to reply. Okay, so now we have our background tree here. All right. And it is in there. It should be light enough to be distinguished from the fellas in the back there. It's got this little shadow happening there. Must have one creature's here. I gotta do something. I gotta be careful about this fella because we got a horn that's in front of the tree. A little bit of his snout is also there. But we're gonna take the barn off because the barn has to be painted first. Okay. All right. So we'll slowly take the barn off. he was different, but he was immensely, like I say, immensely talented. I'm trying to see how I'm going to do this, because I know part of the creature's muzzle and his horn is there. And where I'm going to pick at, I have to be careful, because I know I had to cut through 2 layers of tape to get to it. So I have to kind of watch what I'm doing here when it comes to taking this guy off. I might have to go from the top here. I'll go from the top, I'll dig in from the top, just like that. And slowly, now this stuff, like I say, is a little stickier. Okay, both layers are coming. Okay, no, the other layer, okay, no problem. I better do it this way. Just take it, because one layer is slightly overlapped from the other. I have to be careful because of, once again, because of the horn. I can see where the creature's horns, okay, the horns are there, so I should be able to take him. I can see where it's starting to, oh no, that's the bridge. There's the horn, okay, that horn's gone. Perfect. There's the other one. There's the other horn. Good, it's going around the other horn. It's going around the muzzle. Yes, it is. Very good, perfect. Good, it is coming apart the way I want it to. Great. Like I said, this tape is a lot stickier than the others. A lot. So I really had to cut this thing fairly well to get it out of there. But as you can see now, and I'll remember, paint on this tape does not dry as quickly as on canvas or paper, so it's pretty yucky. All right, I'll take it off from here. Now, of course, I had to cut through the, I gotta put that back. I cut through the tape for the border. That's gonna happen, it's bound to happen, and that's okay. That what you're looking at is actually the horn. Right here is his other horn in his nose, so it's actually in front of the barn, and it kind of has to be placed that way, because once again you're still establishing depth. All right, we'll put it right here. I'm just carefully peeling off the clear tape, which is very strong. But now you see, okay, you see the barn. Now it sticks out. Now you see the, you know, the details. Okay, once again, it was a tracing. Okay, the creature's horn is here. Its other horn is here. The part of the nose is here. Okay, all right. Excuse me. All right, we'll continue this little ramp right here. We'll just kind of pop the ramp in there real quick. All right. Like I said, this barn does have a ramp, but all of its detail and such is in here. It's tough for glycerin to kind of sneak its way here, which is why the edges are fairly sharp. What you see here is actually the sticky part of the tape all up in there. That's not paint. That's actually the sticky, the glue part of the tape, which can be painted over, no big deal. Okay, and you can see how I've done the doors. I've cut into where the door frames would be. We're going to incorporate and make it seem like this barn actually belongs in this painting. But now you see, with the barn being black, how light, even though it's a dark green, but how light it is compared to where the barn is. So once again, even though this barn is not yet incorporated into the painting, everything that's supposed to be behind the barn is definitely pushed back. The clouds are now pushed even further back. You got me? Okay. The tree now makes a lot more sense in relation to where it is. And once again, it is behind the creature here. I cannot take the creature off yet until the barn is fully done. So I think the barn might be another tutorial in itself. All right, I think Jessica might have either been, oh, I was peeling off the I see the I was just taking apart the tape. So I think I'll come back and do a number 2, because once again I can stay on here for quite some time to show you guys how this is done. But I think I'm gonna give you guys a break. I think I'm gonna brighten up this tree just a little bit more to have it stand out just a little more, because I keep staring at it. I'm like, no, I can do better. I can do better than that. So let's get a little bit of titanium white, because a little bit is all I got anyway. A little dot of green. We're gonna make that tree stick out just a little bit more. Okay. I'm hoping that's bright enough. Doesn't seem like it, but I'll see once I go across when I look at it. I got another buddy. He's about to come on in 55 minutes. It's hilarious how many of us we pick our different times, but he's 3 hours behind us. So I think that'll somewhat make it. I'm going to take this turquoise green and probably a little bit of this darker green, just to pronounce the shadow side a little bit more. Just a little bit. Still don't want to get rid of the black, but I do need it just to, once again, just to be seen a little bit more. All right, so it sticks out there. All right, because I don't want it to compete too bad with the trees in the background. But I think I've appropriately established now a light half and a dark half of the tree. Now it sticks out a little bit more. All right. So I probably will come back. I have to check and see. I think we can cut it off here. I'll just put a part 1 to the video. Take a picture of this and call it part 1. And when I do come back, I'll will more or less concentrate on, obviously, the barn itself. And then we'll come back for the dino. Okay. Or we end up doing the dino and the barn together. I don't think I have to really add anything else to this painting yet, because whatever I have to add after this has to come after the barn and after the dino. I cannot unmask the dino yet because the barn is not complete. Okay. And I think I'll have the barn at its probably some kind of traditional color. So it'd probably be red-ish. I can either have it red or have it brown. We'll see what color we'll have it. But we'll once again incorporate this barn into the painting like it belongs there. Okay. And we'll have a lot of fun with it in doing a barn that's actually covered in black, and we'll build up on it. Like I said, you won't know that this whole canvas was black when the painting is finished, because there's no way you can tell that the painting was black. All right, but it is a deeper tone of colors because the canvas was black. All right, okay, we're at 140. Let's put a stop to this. I'll put a part 1 to it. I'll take the picture for a thumbnail, and I'll post this. I won't post it all over the place, but I think I'll just post it on my site because it's not finished. It's a work in progress, and then we'll come back to it a little bit later. All right, I don't want to keep you guys up here at 2.5 and 3 hours. That don't make no sense. All right. So I've got my little typewriter thing. Pull this back up. But it's good to see you, Gracie. All right, guys, I may see you a little bit later on today for part 2, and we'll continue on with this. All right, so until next time, peace. Thank you, Gracie. Ew. Oh, she would drink cold coffee. All right. And now I'm really leaving. Good.